Welcome back to Namaste Node.js. And in this episode, we are going to talk more about MongoDB, how you can create a database using MongoDB, and how do you write code to actually connect to that database, push some data into that database, get some data out of that database, how you can write queries, how you can write basically some code to fetch that data, push that data, and all these things we will see in this episode. Okay, we are going to set up our small database. This will be a dummy database just to make you aware about Node.js, MongoDB, and how you can connect MongoDB with Node.js. Okay, so this will be taught in this episode, and let's just get started. First of all, if you will Google MongoDB, right, go to the official website of MongoDB, right? So you already know that MongoDB is a NoSQL database, right? And it is a document, right? It's a document database, right? If you will go search for MongoDB, so this is an ad right now, a Google ad, but if you will go to the Wikipedia page, you can find out right on the Wikipedia information that this is a, if you'll see, this is a document oriented database program. You know, right? What do you mean by document oriented database program? It's basically the data is stored in collections in form of documents, right? Remember in the last video I told you, we don't have tables, rows, columns inside NoSQL databases. We have a document structure where we have collections, we have documents, and inside documents we have different type of fields. So we will see all of it. Don't you worry about it. This will be all practical session. So let's get started. First of all, let's just get to use MongoDB. So there are two ways to install and use MongoDB, right? I am telling you both the ways, and then I will also tell you which ways we are going to use. The first way of using MongoDB is to basically get the software, get the downloadable packaged file from the MongoDB official website, install it in your local system and run it and use it, right? The first way is what? Just like any other software that you download, any other application that you download in your operating system. And remember, see, MongoDB is cross-platform. So if you are on Windows, if you are on Linux, if you are on a Mac OS, for all these, for all the operating systems, you will find MongoDB. You can download a file, right? And then you can just start using it. Okay, so this is how you can use it, the first way. The second way is, so this way is also known as self-managed. So basically I am managing my MongoDB version, right? I am managing my MongoDB database. This is self-managed. The other way is that you can use a feature which is given to us by MongoDB, that you don't have to basically, you know, get the downloadable version, install it in your local system or something. No. So basically MongoDB on behalf of you takes the database, install it onto a server, onto a cloud platform, and then give access to that platform to you, right? So one way is you are managing it yourself. One way is you are letting MongoDB, the company, managing your database for you. Let me also tell you that, okay, there are two types of edition. So one is the community version, one is the enterprise version, right? One is the community version, one is the enterprise version of MongoDB. What do you mean by community and enterprise? Listen to me very carefully. Community version is the free version that is given for developers to use. Okay, so basically, see, MongoDB as a company, they launched two versions of MongoDB. One is the community, one is the enterprise. So the community version is something which MongoDB gives you. You can download it, install it, and then use it in your local system, or you can also deploy it on your servers, but MongoDB will not help you with managing it, right? But the other version is enterprise version. Enterprise version is basically for companies. So if you are a big company, you should be going ahead with enterprise version. So now if I have to explain it in a layman's language, so basically it's like MongoDB has given a small free version so that people can explore, people can use it, people can use it for free, right? It's just like a free trial. And then you can switch to enterprise if you are seriously making a business out of it or something like that, right? So community version, enterprise version. Now they both can be self-managed or managed by MongoDB. Now what is the difference between self-managed and let them manage? So when you self-manage your database, then you will have to make sure when you are going to production, you will have to deploy your database to your server, right? You have to make sure that your database is always up and running, right? You have to make sure that your database is backed up properly, right? Because you will need a database backup, isn't it? Suppose if your server right is hacked, right? If your server is hacked or your server is crashed, you get lost of all the data. So you don't want to lose your data, right? Data is the backbone of any web application, isn't it? Data, what are these websites? What are these products? It's data, right? Data is the new oil, right? Data is very important for any company. They don't want to lose it. So you need to make replica of your database. You need to do backups, regular backups of your database. You need to make sure that your database is always available, right? It is not down, right? So there are so many things. There are so many issues if you manage it yourself. If you give it to MongoDB, they charge you some pennies, right? But they give you they do all of it, right? They will manage that database for you, right? So this is what we do. Now, for the rest of this course, for the rest of these lectures, we will be using the second approach. Why? Right? I can also download the software, I can install it and show it to you, right? That how do you install it locally and all of that. But no, why should we do that? When MongoDB is managing our database, and giving us for free, why not use it, right? So MongoDB gives you a free version that they will handle your database and they will let you access to that database, right? On the cloud. So why not we use it, right? So we will use that and I will show you how you can do that, right? But if you are interested, if you are still curious, you can go ahead and download MongoDB, install it, and then also use it, right? You will get a lot of blogs, articles. MongoDB documentation is also very much self-sufficient. You can go follow the step-by-step process and you will be able to set up locally also, right? If you want to do it. But I would request you that why not go ahead and do that on the community server, which is managed by MongoDB. It's very much easy, right? So you don't have to manage or do anything. You don't have to get into the issues of installation, the versions and all that stuff, right? So don't get into all that. Just use MongoDB, which is given to us by the MongoDB company, right, for free. Every account, if you will sign up today, today when I am making this video, it is available for free. I don't know, in some years later or while you are watching the video, it might not be free or something. It will be free, right? Why will they stop the free version? Because companies give you free version so that their products get popular, isn't it? When this company, MongoDB, is giving us the free version, so that is why we developer community are using it and we are getting popular. MongoDB is getting popular, so they don't stop the free version. You will still get the free version. But what I am trying to say, get it. One more good advantage of letting MongoDB manage your database is that you don't have to take care of anything. Suppose today you build an application and you want to go on production tomorrow and you want to handle scale. In the free version, the memory is limited, right? You can't just you can't scale that database, okay? But when you are going to production, so you can just buy their plans and you can just start using their paid version also. So it is very easy for you to go from local to production. You don't have to manage database or anything, right? Let them do it. They are the experts. Let them make replica of your database and all that stuff that can be handled on the MongoDB website. Hope you would have understood the difference between these two types of use cases, right? And the two types of way that you can use MongoDB in your projects. We will be using the second one, let MongoDB manage itself, right? How do you do that, right? Let me just show it to you. Go to the official website of MongoDB, mongodb.com. Right now, while you are watching this video, they keep on changing their website. So when you are watching this video, maybe a year later or some few months later, they might have changed the website, but don't worry, right? In the past also, they have changed this website. So don't worry, don't panic if you don't see the same website that you are seeing right now in this video, right? And if you're seeing that, that's well and good. But then I'm just telling you that, okay, MongoDB keeps updating their website. So sometimes it might not be the same what you are seeing right now, but I'll tell you what you have to do basically. See, when you will go, you will find a CTA button, right? Try Atlas for free. They call that version, right? When they host it for you, they call it as Atlas, right? So you have to just try for free, right? They give you a free version of it. You click on free version, right? And they will ask you to sign up. So you sign up for their product, right? There is a Google sign up. There is a username, password kind of a thing. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. And if you'll go down, right, they also say you prefer to get started locally. Basically, they are saying that, okay, do you want to start it locally or do you want them to manage it, right? They also give you, see, community edition, self-managed, right? See this. The word self-managed means if you want to manage it yourself, you want a community edition, you can download it and you can self-manage it, right? You can, now MongoDB has just given you the software, just use it, right? They will not support or anything, right? So that's how it is. It with a free source available solution, right? This is the community edition and enterprise advanced edition also. Go read more about it. So and also let me tell you, in Namaste Dev, this website that you are seeing this course on, namastedev.com, we are using the enterprise version of MongoDB that is managed by MongoDB. We don't take care of database. We don't have to. We basically develop these strategies, but we don't manage database on our own. We let MongoDB manage our database, right? That way, the headache of making replicas, getting backup of the database and all that stuff is taken care by MongoDB. They basically create a new server for you, deploy that database on that server and they manage it for you, right? And then they give us access to that. That is how this whole, see, you know, whenever I'm teaching you something, I am also giving you real world example. You are watching these videos on namastedev.com. We are using same MongoDB what I am teaching you right now. We are using the same version. The only difference is we are using the enterprise version managed by MongoDB and you are using the free version, right? But when we were building namastedev.com, we started with the free version, then we moved to the paid version. That's the only difference, right? We moved to the paid version later on, but the usage and everything remains the same. So go ahead with the free version and let MongoDB manage it, right? Let me just quickly sign up. Once I sign up, right, then I will show you the flow of how you can create the cluster, right? You have to create a cluster and then the database will be created. Don't worry, I will show it to you. Okay, so I am clicking on sign up with Google. Cool. So now it asks me to accept the privacy policy and terms of service, right? You can just continue using that. You click on submit. Now, you know, while you are doing all of it, this website might be little different for you, but don't panic. The flow will remain the same. Okay. So use your account to deploy a cloud database. Okay, so managed by MongoDB, right? That is what it was saying. Now you can just, this is kind of like a survey which you can do, right? It asks you what is your primary goal. So you can just say, okay, I am learning MongoDB. Okay, I just want to learn MongoDB, or you can build a project in your mind or whatsoever, right? How long have you been developing software with MongoDB? It is just asking you few information. So maybe you will say that, okay, I have never developed a software using Mongo before, so I don't have much experience, or you can select accordingly. Okay, so getting to know about your project. What is this project? What programming language are you using? So this is kind of like a small survey. It does not matter, right? You fill whatever you wish like over here, but let me just fill over here JavaScript Node.js. And what type of data will your project use? What type of data? So sales, transaction, user activity. Okay, select whatever according to your needs, right? So sales, transaction data, user activity, messaging data. Let's say, okay, user activity messaging data or something, right? Let's just use this. Okay, cool. Now you can add multiple also. You can say customer user profile data. Why not, right? Let's use 2, 3. Okay, so will your application include any of the following architecture model, right? Which type of architecture model? You can select if you want, right? Anything. I am selecting microservices here because we are going to build a backend microservice, right? When we go ahead in this course, right? In this series, we will be building a project. We will be building a backend microservice. So that is why I'm selecting microservices over here. But you can select anything. You can also select not sure, none, or something like that, right? So doesn't matter much what you fill over here. It's just a small survey that MongoDB wants to do. And once you are over here, it is redirecting me to a page where you deploy your cluster. This is a very important step. Okay, this is a very important step. Now, when you are creating a new account, so MongoDB is automatically giving you an option that you have to deploy a cluster. Now, let me explain you because some people might not know about it. So basically, you have a database. Now you are asking MongoDB to manage it. So what will MongoDB do? MongoDB will basically take it, and it will deploy that cluster onto some machine, right? Onto some machine. So there are multiple options over here. This is the paid plan. This is the paid plan. This is the free plan, M0. So always go with M0. Okay, always go with M0. This is the paid plan. You can go ahead with paid plan if you wish to. It's very, very small. Even if you are selecting this paid version, but the cost is so less that it won't affect your pocket, right? If you want to go ahead with the paid one, but I would suggest you to go with the free one, right? Why not? M0. Okay, it's free forever. MongoDB claims that it is free forever, so be rest assured. Now, when MongoDB is saying that it is free forever, so then you don't have to worry about anything. It will be free forever, right? You can create your database and just use it, right? You can use this cluster. Now, it also says that your M0 cluster is ideal for experimented in a limited sandbox. So, ideally, see, this free version can also go to production. You can deploy your app to production and let people use it. After a point, it has limited capacity, right? It has limited capacity, it has limited storage, it has limited capacity of doing things. For few users, you can use it, right? For few hundreds of users. But if you want your application to scale to lakhs of users, just like our website, right? In namastedev.com, we have lakhs of students out there on our platform, right? So we cannot use this free version. It will not scale well, right? And it will be slow and all that stuff. But if you're just starting up, you're building a small product, you can continue to use the free version or production itself, right? So, and then it also says you can upgrade to production cluster anytime, right? It's just a very small change, right? And you can deploy to production also, right? Cool. So you can select a cluster name. You can give it a cluster name, whatever you wish to, right? So let me give it Namaste Node or something. Why not, right? You can give it whatever you wish to. You can also choose to keep the same cluster 0 or something, right? I am saying Namaste Node, automatically security setup, preload sample dataset. So it will preload some sample data for you, right? If you select it, if you want, you can keep it. If you don't want, you can skip it, right? I'm just keeping it for the sake of it, right? And then now, see, what will MongoDB do? MongoDB will take your database and will deploy it somewhere, right, on a server. So it gives you an option where you want to deploy your server, whether you want, see, behind the scenes, what is MongoDB doing for you? MongoDB is basically getting an instance, getting a server, getting some hosting service from AWS or Google Cloud or Azure, and then deploying your database over there and giving you access to it, right? MongoDB is doing it for you for free. Such amazing thing, isn't it? It is such an amazing thing. It is giving you for free. Then why not use it, right? So you can select whatever you wish to. I'm just keeping it default AWS in the Mumbai region. You can choose to keep it anywhere you wish to. If you are watching this video or if you are making a website for other parts of the world, suppose if you are in Ireland, you are watching this video from Ireland and you want to build a product for Ireland people. So always use it for the, see, Namaste Dev server. Let me also tell you what we use. So, I am telling you what we do as a company so that you are aware that, okay, when you are building a project, how you can think about it, right? We as company in Namaste Dev, we have our servers hosted on AWS and in Mumbai region also. Why I have taken the call of putting it in Mumbai? because majority of the students of Namaste Dev courses are in India. That is why we have kept it in Mumbai. So if you'll keep in Mumbai, it will be very fast for all your students, right? Majority of your students. For students who are outside India, it can have your APIs can be a little slow. That slowness is very small, right? It's not a significantly slow or something. So but it is always advised that keep your servers at a place where your maximum users are, right? So we have kept it in India. You can keep it wherever you wish to. Because this is coming up right now, that is why I'm giving you all this information. But you can choose to read about it later on also, right? And you can also, set up your cluster. Don't click on I'll do this later, otherwise it will just go to the dashboard, right? And you can create a deployment. Now when you click on create a deployment, it will take some time, because see what it will do, it will get a server for you, it will deploy database and all that stuff, right? So it takes some time. Now it see, it gives you your username and a password, right? You can copy it, right? You can change the username. Let me do it Namaste Dev, right? Let me create a username for me, Namaste Dev over here, and we have a password also over here, right? You can copy it, username and password, and now you can also create multiple users for your database, right? You can create multiple users, so you don't have to worry much about it. You created a user, right, with a username and a password. Now you can choose a connection method. If you'll click on choose a connection method, so it will give you multiple options. Don't worry about it, right? Don't worry about it if you are not understanding all of it. And let me also tell you once again that when you are doing all this, your UI can be very different than mine. When you will go to MongoDB website, I am repeating it once again, you might not see the same UI that I am showing you right now, because MongoDB keeps changing their website, okay? So I'm just requesting you, all these options will still be present in the newer version of website. You will just have to find it somewhere, right? So I'll tell you the keywords also. So let me just close it. Suppose you mistakenly close this website, right? So you have to log in, and it will give you a dashboard over here, right? You have to log in and it will give you a dashboard over here. In this dashboard, you will still see your cluster, right? The cluster that you created, you will still see a cluster. See this clusters. This is the Namaste node cluster. Got it? So you have your cluster. This is the free version that we are using. Now our database, now basically our cluster is created. Now we have to use it. How do we use it? I'll just tell you that you have to get a connection string. There is a MongoDB connection URL, connection string. That is the only thing that you need to connect to your database. It is kind of like a way to authenticate, right? That connection string will contain the username, the password, and the location of your server. That's it, right? So you have to get the connection string. How would I get it right now? You click on connect, right? There will be a way to connect, and you can choose over here, right? Let me just close this. You can choose over here drivers, right? So it will just give you, see this, it will give you this connection string. Got it? So it will give you this connection string, right? Or you can go back, you can click on compass also. I will explain you what all these things are. You can give your compass also. It will give you a connection string. So if you will see, you will get a connection string which looks like this, right? Your connection string looks like this. It will always start with MongoDB plus SRV, right? Plus SRV, and then it looks like a URL, right? It looks like a URL because this is a URL, right? It's known as URI, right? Okay. So now, and it will give you the username. This is the username that we created. And it will give you the password over here. So password is empty over here because we have to copy our own password. And then it gives you it, and this information is about the cluster that we just created, right? This is the cluster, Namaste node dot, and then this cluster. Okay. So now you have to get this string, right? And I have my password also. So let me just store this URL somewhere, right? Let me just go to our project. Okay. So now We will be doing everything in this project, right? In the Namaste Node project, it will be available at the same place. I will push this on GitHub. Don't worry about it. So I have created a file database.js, right? I have created a file database.js over here. Now, let me just copy that string URI. Okay, let me call it as URI, and then you can paste it. So this is the password, sorry, right? This is the password. Now, how do you create that? You have to copy the string, copy it, get it over here, right? And then this password, you will have to replace this password with this password. Okay. So now take a moment, take a pause over here in this video. Go to MongoDB website, create an account. So what you will have to do, let me tell you these steps, okay? Okay, so that you are not confused. First thing is, go to MongoDB website, MongoDB website, right? You have to create a free M0 cluster, right? And deploy it, right? You will deploy it. Now, once you have created a cluster, you'll just have to get the connection string, right? And your connection string will look like this, okay? So make sure your connection string looks like this. Got it? And you have to keep your username and password. You have to, after deploying, you'll have to create a user also. It will give you an option to create a user, right? Create a user. This user is basically Namaste Dev, and then this is the password. So this string is enough to access that database. That is all you require, right? So this all thing you have to do. Please do this and then come back to the video and watch later. Once you have got this connection string, right? Now, our database is managed on an AWS server by MongoDB. But how can I access it? How can I see what is there inside that database? There should be some way to see that database, right? What is there inside it? What are the collection? What are the documents? There is a way, right? For that, we use something which is known as MongoDB Compass. And that is why when you were seeing this connect, you are seeing this compass, right? So this MongoDB Compass is a software that will help you access the database, right? You can go over there, you can see what is there inside the database. It is kind of like a UI for that database. Okay, it's like a UI for database. It is available for all. It is available for Linux. It is available for Windows. It is available for Mac OS, right? So go ahead to the MongoDB Compass, right? And install it. You have to download it and install it. It's a software. You have to download and install it, right? In my system, MongoDB Compass is already installed, right? It's already installed. So now what else you have to do? Let me keep taking down notes. So you have to then install MongoDB Compass, right? These are the notes. Let me take down these notes somewhere, right? Okay. So at the end of the file, let me just keep this, right? Notes. Okay. So notes. Okay, so you have these notes. I will keep taking down notes. You have to install MongoDB Compass into your system. I have already installed it, but the installation process is very easy. Now, let me also tell you, if you face any issues while doing this, you might face a lot of issues. Because see, I am making this video right now. The website looks very different. When you are watching this video, this website might look very different, or you might face some issues in any of these steps. Don't worry, don't panic. First thing is Google. You are a software developer, you are a software engineer. If you can't Google, then it's a blunder for you, right? You should have good Googling skills. Google your errors. Whatever error you are getting, if you don't find anything, right? What you have to Google? You have to Google all these terms, right? Suppose if you can't create a user. So write down MongoDB, create a user to access Mongo at less, right? So just Google it, right? Use your Googling skills. You will figure out a solution. Every day there are lakhs of developers who are creating all these free clusters and using MongoDB. There is nothing left which is not on the internet. You will not face any issues which is not which is very unique, right? There would be all the issues that you might face while using MongoDB would already have answers on the internet, on Stack Overflow or somewhere. Still, if you can't find your answer after Googling, then go to the Discord community, ask for help, right, from the other fellow students, and people will help you. There will be so many students just like you in Namaste Node who would be doing this every day, right? Every day we have new students who are joining Namaste Node. So go ahead, ask help from them, and the community will help you. And if you go to the community and you find someone else stuck it somewhere, please, you also help. When you help others and they help you, they will help you. That way you are spreading the knowledge, and please help each other and learn, right? When you help others, then you also get, you also rise while helping others. Okay, so please do that. Now, why I'm telling you all this is because you might face some issues, because I have seen whenever I teach students about database or something, they face installation errors and some version mismatch alerts and all that stuff, right? So don't panic first of all. Got it? Now let's just move ahead. Hope you would have installed Mongo Compass in your system. Now let me just show you how this Mongo Compass will look like. It will look like this. Okay, so it will look like this. Let me go ahead, keep it over here, right? So now here you will have to click on new connection. I already have some databases over here. See, Namaste Dev local, Namaste Dev prod, admin access, and all these things. These are my saved connections. You can also save it, but you will have to now connect to your database using Compass, and this will give you a good UI. You can view your database, you can view the data inside the database using this software. MongoDB Compass is managed and built, and this software is managed by MongoDB itself, right? It's a good free version available for you. Why not, right? Just use it. Now over here you will have to write the same connection string, right? You will have to, oh my god, this is not the connection string. Let me copy it. You'll have to write the same connection string, right? This is used, right? This will be used to connect to your database, right? And you just have to click on save and connect. Just click on save and connect because it will be easier for you. Save and connect, and you can have advanced connection options. Don't go into it, right? Just click on favorite. Okay, it's not favorite. Okay, you can save to favorite also, right? If you want to save it, you can save to favorite also. Let me just do Namaste Node.js, right? Let me just save it for future references. Namaste Node.js, right? And let me give it a color also. Let's give it let's give it some color. Let's give it purple. Okay, why not? Or let's give it orange. Okay, so let's give it orange, or let's give it purple, right? Why not? It's good. So you just save it and connect to it, right? Now, when you click on connecting Namaste Node.js, it takes you to the database. You are already connecting. If you get an error while clicking on that connect button, that means your URL is not correct, or your username password is wrong, or something, there is some issue in your URL. Otherwise, it should take you inside your database. Now, you can access the cluster now. In the cluster, you can have multiple separate databases. This is the main thing that you have to see, right? There will be already few databases which are created. One is admin, one is config, one is local, one is sample mflix. So remember, when we were creating a cluster, it gave you a small checkbox that, okay, give us the sample data. So this is the sample data it has given you. Okay, so this is the sample data it has given you. Just ignore this for now. But suppose if you want to create a new database, you can just create it by adding plus button over here. You can create a new database out of it, right? So this is how you can create a new database. Shall I create and show it to you? See, there are two ways of creating database. Either you can create it using a code, right? I can write a code over here, execute it, and it will create a database for you, right? Or you can just click on the plus button and create a database over here for you, right? Shall we create it? Let me just show you in the UI how you can create it, right? Let me just make it full screen so that it is much more better visible to you. Database name, let's call this as, okay, first database, or maybe let's call this as testing, right? Or let's say hello world. Let's give our name of our database as hello world. And collection name. Now this collection name means table name. Remember in the previous episode when I was discussing it, there was a user collection, isn't it? Let's say I have to store user data into it, right? There are so many users coming onto our website. I want to store the user data. So let's name this collection as user collection. Okay. So user is the name of the collection. Now, do you want this data to be time series? Don't uncheck it. This is a, time series database is different, right? So don't check this. Just create database now. It will create a new database. See, it created a new database for you. And there is a collection, user collection over here, right? Now you can add data into this collection also. When you say add data, what will you insert into it? You can insert documents into it. Just like you create tables in RDBMS and you insert rows, similarly you insert document inside your collections. So we have our database over here. This is the database. All the things that we saw, this is the database. If you click on this database, it will show you that it has one collection, user collection. It has the storage size of 4 KB, 0 documents available, right? And 0 documents available. If you click on it, 0 documents available. Document size is 0 byte, index is 1, and total index size 4 KB, right? So this is the database. You have the user collection. Now, shall I add one data? Let me add some data over here, right? Click. So either you can see import from JSON or CSV. I told you, right? You can just import your data or you can insert a document. So I just want to insert one document over here. Let us just insert one document. Now I told you, my dear friends, that these documents, right? These documents are nothing but like a JavaScript object, like a JSON, right? Similarly, you can just add a document like this. So it is generating a by default ID for you. You can keep that ID as it is, or you can remove it or something. Let's remove this ID, right? Or let me just remove everything and let me insert a very basic kind of a database, okay? And let me insert a first name, right? While, see, it is saying some error. Insert not permitted while the document contains errors. Yes. So your document should not have errors. So I have my first name and let's give it Akshay, right? So this is a valid document. Let us also add some more details, right? Last name, right? And I can give it Saini. Okay. Now this is my first name, last name. I'm creating my first document. I'm pushing the first data over here. Okay, now first name, last name, and then maybe you can say that, okay, let us add age over here, right? Age, or maybe not age. I don't want my age to be inserted in this document. Let's add city, right? Or maybe location, okay? So city, which city I am in? I am in Dehradun, okay? Dehradun, okay? And now I can also add a country. You can add whatever you wish to, right? Or add a phone number. Okay, so phone number. So now phone number can be different phone numbers. Cool. So this is the document that I need to add over here. So if I click on insert, right? If I will click on insert, then let me click on insert. See, now MongoDB added this first user into your user collection. And I wanted to show you that, do you see an amazing thing? We gave it first name, last name, city and phone number. What is this ID? When you don't give it an ID, MongoDB creates its own object ID for you. MongoDB collections create your own object ID for you. This ID is automatically created by MongoDB. Why? So that it uniquely identifies this document. This is kind of like an ID for this document. Got it? So catch the lingo also. This is a database. This is the collection, user collection. And now you have a document inside it, and these are fields: first name, last name, city, phone number, ID. These are fields. Okay, so documents collection fields. Got it? Now this is the first data that we have inserted. Similarly, you can insert the data from code, and when the users will register, we will actually push the users from here. Shall I show it to you? Shall I show it to you? Wait, I will show it to you. Okay. So now let us just, we are doing this using the UI, right? This is not the way. I think this is the first and the last time I am doing this using this UI. I will never do this from the UI now, right? Everything will happen via code. So don't you worry about anything. Okay. So this is what we have done. Now let me go back and show you how you can write code. So to connect your Node.js to MongoDB, right? For you to connect to this database. See, where is this database? This database in a cloud, in a server, which is managed by AWS Mumbai, right? It's over there. How are we connecting to it? We are connecting via this URL, isn't it? So how do we connect our Node application? How will we write code to connect it over there? I will now write it. So how can you connect your Node.js application with that database? I will show you everything. Right? Don't worry. For that, I will need an npm package, which is known as MongoDB. Okay. Now you might not know about npm packages. Let me tell you what is npm packages. npm packages are basically some piece of, you can assume that, see, let me tell you an example. Suppose if you had, when you were doing, you were creating a hash, right? I showed you in previous examples. So suppose if you want to access the file system. So you have this fs module, isn't it? Fs module. What is fs? Fs is a module. It's a library of code, right? This is the code somebody else wrote it for you. And you can just import, you can just require that code and you can start using file system. Isn't it? Similarly, there is a module which is required for connecting to MongoDB, right? And that node, that package is known as MongoDB itself, and it is available on npm. I'll tell you what is npm if you don't know, but let me just go over there. See this. So this npm MongoDB, if you'll go to this npm MongoDB over here. So this is the MongoDB Node.js driver. Basically, it's a connector for Node.js and MongoDB. This establishes a connection between the two. We are using this. Now, let me first of all tell you, a lot of people over here might not know, who are coming from a different stack, might not know what is npm. So npm is a place, it's a repository which contains a lot of node module packages, right? Node packages, right? So suppose I'll tell you. So suppose, suppose if you want to connect to MongoDB, right? So you have a package for it. So this package gives you some code. So see, just like we had to connect to file system, so Node.js has given us a package. This is a library. You can call this as a library. You can call this as a package. You can call this as a module, right? Generally, the good word is module over here. So you have a fs module. You just require it and start using it, right? So when you do fs.read file, somebody would have written some code behind this read file, right? Somebody would have written this code, read files code, right? This is a function. Somebody would have written that code to connect to the file system and give you back the data. Similarly, there are packages which helps you connect to the MongoDB. And those packages, that library, that module is stored on npm. npm is a repository. It is a collection of a lot of packages. And let me tell you, it is one of the largest library management system which is available on the internet. And it's available for JavaScript. All the JavaScript packages are hosted on npm. npm does not stand for Node Package Manager, but a lot of people call it as, see, npm, right? Some people call this as an abbreviation. So some people think that npm means Node Package Manager, right? But official website of npm does not ever say that I am a node package manager. No, it's not. Npm does not stand for node package manager, but it is kind of like a package manager for node. Okay, so it's funny thing that npm does not claim it to be a node package manager, but it's kind of like a package manager for node. Okay, so don't get into all that detail, it's irrelevant for now, but assume that if you have to get some utilities, get some libraries, get some modules, you will find everything on npm. Suppose if you want to right, if you want to you will see a lot of npm modules later on, but I'm just thinking about good modules which we will use. Suppose if you want to encrypt passwords, right, so there is a library available for it. Suppose if you want to send emails, there is a library associated with it. Suppose if you want to connect to Mongo, there is a library associated with it. All of that are present on npm, right? It's a central repository, right? So now if you want, this is MongoDB code, right? You need this package into your system. So you can't just directly require it, right? You can't just write like this. You can't just do it like this. Require MongoDB. Why you cannot do this? You cannot do this right now because it is available on remote. We will have to install this first of all, then we can use it like this, right? So how do you install it? Whenever you install an external package, see, for file system, we did not install anything. When we were doing this file system, we did not install anything because it is a native module. It is managed by Node. This MongoDB package is not managed by Node. It is managed by MongoDB, right? And it is available on npm. So we will have to install this package. How do you install this package? Very easy. You will have to write npm install MongoDB. Make sure this spelling is correct, otherwise it will install something else, or it will say that, okay, no package exists or something like that, right? So you can write npm install MongoDB. There is one more shortcut to do this. You can just write npm I MongoDB. I is a shortcut or a shorthand for install. You can do whatever you choose to, right? If you write npm I MongoDB, it will just install the package from you. What it is doing now, it is basically going to the internet, getting that library, and it is pushing that library into the node modules. Now you will see that there is a new folder node modules which will automatically be created for you. So basically, when you wrote npm install MongoDB, what it did was it went to the npm.js servers. It fetched the code of MongoDB, it got the code of it, and it put the code of it in node modules. You see this MongoDB? You see this MongoDB? This was fetched from the internet and it has put it inside this folder of node modules. Got it? And now if I require MongoDB, it will work. Now if I'll require MongoDB, it will work. And if you'll hover onto it, see, VS Code also shows you that this is a module, and where is the path of this module? It is coming from user Sakshaseni desktop namaste node modules MongoDB. So it is coming from node modules directory. Got it? So this is how you install this package. Now once you have installed it, now I can make a successful connection. But I will tell you one more important thing before doing that. Whenever you do a npm install MongoDB, it will create two files for you. One is this package.json and one is this package lock, right? One is this package.json package lock. Right now, don't worry about it. Keep these files as it is. I will explain more about node modules. I will explain more about package lock. I will explain more about package.json when I will be building a project. For now, just think of them as random files, okay, which is there in your system. Keep them as it is. I will explain about all these things in detail when I will be building a project. Okay, for now, just be concerned about this file database.js. Here, how will I connect to database? One more thing is, don't worry much about anything else. This is the thing which you have to be concerned about. One more issue you will find is, if you will go over here, you will see, oh my god, there are so many files changed. Why your VS Code will show you that, okay, there are changes made in 5x1 files, because see, it has added a lot of random files inside node modules. So if you see this error, right, you should create a git ignore file, right? So create a git ignore file, basically git ignore. So basically I want to ignore my node modules, and inside that you write node underscore modules. Okay, you write node underscore modules and it will become 4 files now. Okay, so we only have now 4 files over here, right? Git ignore, database, package log, package.json, right? Otherwise your file system will be right. I will explain more about git ignore also, node modules also, everything I will explain when we will be building project, right? So don't worry much about it. I'm just giving you a small demo right now, that how you can insert and get data from the documents and all that stuff, right? So don't worry much about all these nitty-gritty details. But if you are seeing 551 files over here, just create this git ignore and forget about it. Cool. Because if I start explaining you all these small things, because I am very curious, if I will explain you all these small things, why I am doing all of it. And trust me, when you are watching a lot of other courses on the internet, they don't explain you these small things, but I will explain you every small thing, why I am doing what I am doing, why I am writing every word of the code that I am writing. I will explain you everything when we will build the project. Don't worry, never feel that okay, Akshay will not explain it. Akshay will explain it, all the basic small details. I will dive deep into as much as possible, right? And your understanding will become much more deeper, right, as we go ahead. Don't worry if you don't understand everything of whatever I have taught today. We will do the same thing when we will set up our database for our project when we create, right? When we will be building our project, we will be doing everything once again. Don't worry, we will be repeating it that way, and then I will be going slowly over there, right? So you will understand everything. Don't worry. Now we have this MongoDB package with us. We have the connection string. We are ready to connect. Okay. So if you'll go to MongoDB, first of all, okay, let me also tell you, if you'll go over here to MongoDB npm package, so there is a API docs over here, right? So API docs, go to API docs, because it's good to read the docs, right? Without docs, how will we do anything, right? How would we know that, where do we get the code to write all the things, right? How do we connect? How we understand that how to use this library? I have got that library. I will need some documentation, right, to understand how to use this library. There is a documentation. You can go over here to, the version that you have installed. So the version that we have is 6.8.0 over here. So you can go and read the documentation for 6.8 driver, right? You can go to API, you can go to reference. I'll go to API. See, it takes you to the API over here. So you can use a lot of amazing things. You can go through the documentation also if you wish to, right? But if you will go over here and if you'll go to the top level detail, right? Just a minute. If you will go to the home page over here, so it will just give you the basic details of using it, right? So I already know this because I have read about it, but you can go and check out this documentation more. So this is basically a dummy code it has given you, which we will use to connect to our database. Now, how do we use it? Just read the documentation. See, now you would say, I can just write all the code to connect to the database. But now you would say, Akshay, should I memorize this code? The answer is no. Whenever you are using a new library, see, this library is very new for you. So you will have to read the documentation to understand, right? If you are using something new, you should read the documentation or you should read the API reference to understand it. You don't have to memorize anything. A good developer always, whenever you are using a library, always go to the documentation and see how you use that tool, right? How you use this library. So this library tells you that you have to write this code to connect to the database. Now we can take a reference from it. See, it is also doing a require MongoDB, right? And then from here, you are extracting a Mongo client. Should I do this? Yes, I will do this. Okay, so I will basically over here do a constant Mongo client require MongoDB. Okay, I am copy pasting the code. Otherwise, I would suggest you to write that code yourself, right? When you will write it yourself, you will become good at it. I can, without even seeing the documentation, I can write the full code, but I will not do it. I will just refer to the documentation because that's how you will do it, right? Because you don't know the code, right? I can just quickly write the code. All the code I can write, but I want to show you how to find things up. I want to make you capable. There is a dialogue, right? If you will give somebody a fish to eat, right, then you will just fill their stomach for one day, right? But if you'll teach them how to fish, he can fill their stomach every day, right? So basically, this is what I am showing you. I can just directly write the code, but I'm not doing it like that. I am doing it like how you would do. You have to go to the documentation again and again, read it, and then write it over here, right? So this is what Mongo client. Now, do you see this connection URL? Now, if you have installed so I told you, right, there are two ways to install the MongoDB. If you have downloaded the MongoDB and had it on your local, then you will have a local URL, right, that you will put over here. Otherwise, this URL will be the same URL that we have over here, right? So let me just copy this code and let me remove it. So this URL will be our URL, right? Our connection URL. Now go back. So now it is saying that, okay, constant client is equals to a new Mongo client. So this Mongo client, it is making a new reference to it, right? New reference to this class. It will be a class. It is a function, right? Which is there, and you pass in URL inside it, and it will create a new client for you. So let us create a new client, right? So how would we do it? So what basically it is doing, I have got this MongoDB over here, right? I have got this MongoDB. I am creating a new object from this MongoDB client, and I am passing this URL over here, right? I am getting the client. Now what I will do, I have my DB name. So let us create a variable with the DB name. What is our DB name? Let me just get rid of this for now. What is the DB name? My project. No. For us, the DB name is Hello World, right? Isn't it? So let's write that. Hello World. And now I will go back and I will copy this main function over here, right? I will copy this main function over here, and what it does, use connect method to connect to the server, right? You can do a client.connect. When you will do client.connect, it will basically request this URL and it will connect to the client. Once your client is connected, it will log to the console connected successfully to the server, right? And then what it will do, a db is equals to client.db and then the DB name. So basically you are connecting to the server, then you are referencing that database and getting that database. Now you are referencing a collection also. For us, the collection is not documents. Our collection is users. Users or user, right? What is there? Have we created? Yes, user. So our document, the collection name is user over here. This is the collection. Got it? Now, and return done. Okay, return done. Now after that, once it is done, I can also write this, right? This is the function. Now we will call this function. It will return us a promise. See this. Why I am saying it is returning us a promise? Because I see the signature over here, right? When you call this main function, it returns us a promise. And that promise is then goes through this console log, and then you can catch the errors over here. And finally, when you are closing, then you do a client.close. It will always run. Okay. So once you are done running all the code, you finally close the client, right? You close the connection, you make the connection, and then you close it, right? That's how everything works over here. Now, this is the same code that I have copied from this website. This is how you will do it, right? And then we will add our own code also. I will show it to you. But first of all, let us run this code and see if everything works well or not, because I have put in so much code. Let me first of all check whether I am able to work with this code or not. Is it even running or not, right? Cool. So now, how do you run the code? You already know that. Node and then the name of the file. Node database. I think the file is not saved. Let me save the file. Database.js. If I hit enter, if I get some error, then we will resolve the error. If I don't get the error, yes, see, it says that connected successfully to server, done. So basically, we were able to successfully connect to our server, and we clicked and we then returned the done. Done means finished. But nothing happened, right? Because we are not doing anything. We are not doing anything over here. Right? We are not doing anything over here. We connected to the database and we closed the connection. That's all we did. Let us do something over here. Shall I let us read something from the database. How do you read something from the database? Let us read this document. Can I read this document or not? Can I get this data from the database or not? I will show you how you can get the data from the database. I will show you how to push the data from the database. I will show you. Don't worry. Right? Now, how do you do that? I can write the code quickly, but I will show you how to read the documentation and write the code. Okay. So see, over here it is giving you an example of inserting a document, find all documents. You can read all these documentation. You will get access to everything. Okay. So if I go over here, I will read the document more. Right? Why I am showing you again and again this documentation? Because get familiar with the documentation. Documentation never lies. Right? It will not lie. It is the source of truth. If you can read the documentation, you can do anything. You can do anything. Nobody can stop you from becoming a very great developer. You can go read the documentation and implement things up, and you don't have to study from anyone then. Right? If you can study from documentation, you will not even have to go and watch my videos and study from my videos. Right? Go make a habit of reading a documentation, my dear friends. Okay, I want all my students to be very good at reading documentation. Cool. Now read more. Okay, if you'll see, it says inserting a document. How to insert a document. It is giving you this documentation. Read it. It is giving you code examples also. Find all the documents, right? This is find all the documents. So let us just see how do you find all the documents, right? Okay, sorry. This is the find all documents with a query filter, find all documents. So let us just use this find all documents. Okay. Find result is equals to, let's copy this, right? Let's copy this and let's paste it over here. We are basically reading it. Find result is equals to await collection.find. What I am finding, collection.find. This is an empty object, right? This means I am finding everything. I am finding everything, right? And then I am converting everything into an array, to array. And then I am logging whatever I have found over here in the console, right? Shall I do that? Shall I do that? Let me just run the code and let me just show it to you. Node database.js. See this. It makes a connection, reads the document, and do you see this? I have found the documents over here. I have found the same document over here. Whatever was there inside. See, this is Compass. But actually this document is on a database which is deployed on an AWS server, which is managed by MongoDB. And we are just using this username password over here, this connection string, to connect to that database, find the document, get it up. This is how you find the documents. Amazing, isn't it? Shall I show you how to insert the documents? Let me just show you how to insert the data. So suppose I want to insert that data. Okay. So let's create a data first of all. Suppose I want to insert another document into over here, right? How do you insert it? Let's say, okay, let's create a constant and then let's create a data, right? Let's create a data. Let's create one more user, which has a first name and a last name and same thing, right? Make sure you are writing the same spellings. If you will write a different spelling over here, if your first name over here does not match the first name over here, it will be a problem. Okay. So always use the first name, last name and all these things carefully, right? These names. Otherwise it will not do anything. Your first name will not go over here and you will be feeling that, okay, what happened, right? Why it is not coming? So probably you have mistyped it. There is a typo error. So let us create another user. What user should we create? Let's create a user, Deepika. Okay. And let's give it a last name, right? Last name, and let's give it Padukone. Okay, so Deepika Padukone, and then let's give it a city, right? Let's give it a city. Okay, why not? Mumbai, right? And then let's give it a country. What else was there? Phone number. Sorry, phone number. Even I don't have the phone number. But anyways, right? Let's create a phone number. Let's give it a phone number, right? So shall we insert this? Now suppose if I have to insert this data, how will I insert this data? And should I give it ID? No, you don't have to give it ID because Mongo will automatically create it. Mongo will automatically create it for you. Don't you worry about it, my dear friends. Okay. So now, if you go over here and let me just do a insert document, right? If you do a insert document over here, so just copy this and paste it up over here, right? Insert result, await collection, insert many. So there is a, see, on the collection user, you can do a insert many. Do you want to insert many documents? No, I just want to insert one document. So you can, but this function is insert many, right? So let's use this, and it takes an array of documents. So basically, and this array is the documents, right? I don't want to put this. I want to put my data into it, right? I can put my data into it, right? This is the data. You can also pass this data like this, right? You can pass this data like this, right? But for the sake of better readability, I am creating a data over here. I am passing this data over here, and let's run this code and see what is printed onto the console and how things work. Will the document be inserted or not? Let us just see. I'm running this code once again. Do you see this? We have created a new user, inserted documents, right? It said that I have inserted a document and I have got a result also. And that result is what? I have inserted a document with an object ID. It created a object ID for you, my dear friends. It created a object ID for you. Isn't it amazing? It's amazing, right? It's amazing, right? You have created a new document for you. Now, when we were doing find documents, this time we have got two documents over here. That means we have Akshay Saini and we have Deepika Padukone also over here. Right? We have Deepika Padukone also over here. Right? If I go back to our database, I can't see it right now. Why? Because we have to refresh it. If I refresh the data from here, it gets me two documents. Do you see this? We have successfully inserted data into the database and we have successfully read the data. This is what I wanted to show you, my dear friends, in this video. But let me show you some more details, right? You can read the documentation and do a lot of things. You can read. I would request you all, I would urge you all to read this documentation and do a thing, right? Suppose if you want to update a document, what if I want to update the name of Deepika, right? Suppose if I want to update the name, update the city, update the phone number, how would you do that? This is your homework. You have to go to the documentation, find out how do you update the document, practice this up. How do you remove a document? How do you create an index in the collection? Don't worry if you don't know about it. We will talk about indexing a collection later on when we will build the project. But you should know the CRUD operations. When I say CRUD operations, what do you mean by that? See, I am giving you homework also in the notes. Install MongoDB Compass. Create a database. What else? This is your homework. Database. Then basically in your project, create a connection. Install MongoDB package. Okay, install a MongoDB package. Then create a connection from code, and then you will have to do CRUD operation. CRUD means create, read, update, delete. Right? Create, read, update, delete the documents. Right? CRUD documents. Right? Documents CRUD. Okay, so you'll have to create, read, update, delete, right? You have to do all of it. For that, you just have to read the documentation. Okay, so just like, let me also tell you one thing, right? You will see some of the methods as, see this, delete many, and there is one update one, there is one find, there is one insert many, right? So these are just examples, but if you will go read about the documentation, you will find that there is a, so see, you are doing collection dot insert many. So this is present, these functions are present on a collection object. So if you will go to collection documentation, right? You go find collection over here, right? Let us find the collection word over here. How do you find collection? Right. Can I search it? Let me search it on the page, collection, right? So where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay. Yep. This is the collection over here. Click on collection. So if I go to the documentation of collection, it will show me all the methods that I can use. Right? So just like we had insert many, right? What we used over here? We used insert many over here, right? Insert many. Similarly, it gives you all the methods over here. Go to the documentation of collection over here, right? Class collection, and see what all methods I can use. You can use a aggregate. You can use a count. What do you mean by count? What is count? Go click on it. Read this documentation. Count, an estimated count of the matching documents in a DB to a filter. So basically it will count the documentation. Count the documents in your DB. How can I use it? Let me show you, right? Shall I show you? See, there is one more function which is known as count documents. Shall I show you how to use all of it? Right? Shall I show you how to use all of it? See, it is available on a collection. So let's use this function count documents. Okay. So let me just show it to you. Okay. So we have this final result. After that, let me do collection. Right? What you will have to do? You will have to create a count. So I'll do count documents. Right? Count documents. Count result. Okay, let's call this as count result. I'll do a await. Now, why do you do await? You know that, right? It's a promise. It returns a promise. So you have to do collection dot count documents, right? Count documents, and then over here pass empty filter, right? Basically, you will have to pass empty filter over here, right? You pass in a filter. Now, if you will read this documentation, you will understand what is being written over here. Now, this will give you the count result, and let us do a console log and see how it works, right? Console.log, and then this should give us the count of documents. Count of documents in the user collection, right? Is the count result. Now, let us just run this code once again. Do you see this? It is giving me the count of documents in user collection. It says 3. Why it is 3? Oh my God. Let us go back, refresh the page. We have got 3 over here. Deepika Padukone has come once again. Why it has come once again? Because we have ran the whole code once again. So it created this data once again. But remember this, the second time this Deepika Padukone object was created, there would have been a different object ID. See, the whole data is same, but the object ID will be very, very, very unique. Right? And it gave you the count of the document. So now read about these, go to collection once again, try out these methods. Right? Try out these count documents, create index, create indexes, delete many, delete one, distinct, drop. If you want to drop the collection, if you want to find something, this is fine. This is find one. It will find one document. It will find according to the filter, right? How do you find according to the filter? Okay, I'll show you, right? Suppose if in my database, I have 2 Deepika Padukones, right? 2 Deepika Padukones. Suppose I want to find all the documents with the first name of Deepika, right? Can I find? Right? Let me just show you how to do that, right? Let me first of all comment all of it. Otherwise, it will again insert, right, things up. But suppose if you have a find all documents with a filter of first name Deepika. How do you do that? Let me show it to you. How do you do that? Constant result is equals to await collection dot await. I will await for the result collection dot, and I will do a find, and I will write a filter over here. If the filter is empty, it gives you all the documents. If in the filter you pass in first name and then you gave it Deepika, right? So now it will bring me only the documents which has the first name of Deepika, and we should see two documents over here, right? Let me do a console.log and let us result is, right, comma result. Okay, so I have written this code. I have commented all the code, otherwise it will create the documents and everything once again. I have commented all this code. Now let me run my code once again, and it should give you two documents. Oh my god, why it is not giving me properly? Why it is not giving me properly? It is giving me in some other space. So whenever you are writing find, always do a to array, right? When you do a to array, otherwise it will give you in a different format. See, it gives you in a different format, right? Why it gives you in a different format, let me also show it to you. Now I was not going to explain you this, but then now when the thing has come up, so let me explain you. If you go to find, right? If you go to find, so what does it return? So find takes what, right? If you go to the documentation of find, so it says that find takes a filter and it takes some options. Now, if you are curious, just find out that what options does it take. What it returns a cursor. It returns a cursor. It does not return you an array. It returns a cursor. Okay. Why it returns a cursor? That's a different, so see, suppose you want to do multiple operations. See, I'll tell you why it returns a cursor. So you can join multiple cursors. So suppose if you want to find, so you might have heard of promise chaining. Have you heard of promise chaining? Right? Have you heard of promise chaining? If you have not heard of promise chaining, go to my YouTube channel, watch my promise chaining video. But over here, it's kind of like a similar thing. Suppose if you want to find all the documents which has the first name of Deepika and get the count of it. So what you can do, it gives you a cursor which can be used to chain methods up, right? I will show you the method chaining and everything also, don't worry, now when this has come up. But what I am trying to say, it is not returning you an array, it is returning you a cursor. So if you want an array over here, so you can just do a dot to array, right? And it will create an array for you, right? It will create an array for you, and it will give you a human readable array, right? This array would be a JSON array, right? Basically a JSON array, and it will give you which can be read by code, right? If you click on it, see, it gives you the array, and now it gives you two results, both the first name of Deepika, right? Both the first name of Deepika. Now suppose why it was a cursor, let me tell you, so that you can chain the methods. This is known as method chaining. Suppose if you find all the documents with the first name of Deepika, and I want to find the count of it. Suppose I want to find the count of it. Can I do that, right? Can I do that? Why it is saying no? Can I do that? Let me just try to do this and let's see if it works or not, right? Can I do that? Cool. Cursor.count is deprecated and will be removed in the next major version. Please use collection.estimate document count or collection.count documents. So basically it is saying that this count method, just read that error. It is not even an error. It gave you the result of 2 over here, but it is saying that this is a deprecated method. So maybe after few months, MongoDB will deprecate the count method, right? Now, instead, you should use count documents or you should use a estimated document count, right? So we should not use count now. So don't use count. Okay, don't use count. You should use count documents. So go try out, read the documentation for count documents and estimated document count and see if you can use it over here. You might not be able to use this count documents also over here, right? But where you will find all this information, you will find it in the documentation, right? This find is returning you a cursor, right? This find returns you a cursor, right? If you'll go over here in the find, it returns you a cursor. Now if you'll go to cursor, right? Click on it, find cursor. Now you can see that, okay, what methods can you use on cursor, right? What methods can you use on cursor, right? You can do a find dot and what else? You can do a find dot add event list, add listener. You can do a find dot max, find dot min, find dot next, find dot once, find dot hint, find dot clone, right? Find dot skip, rewind, stream, and a lot of things on cursor, right? It gives you a cursor. But generally, right, this gives you a cursor. This is what you have to understand, right? So go explore it up. There can be a lot of things that you can do, right? In collection also you can do a lot of things. You can do a insert one, right? There is something known as insert one and there is something known as insert many. So there is a difference between insert one and insert many, right? We were over here using insert many. So there is something known as insert one, right? So if you have to insert one document, you should use this. If you want to insert multiple document, you should insert this, right? So if you click on it, go over here, insert one, it takes one document. If you will go to insert many, right? See, it takes documents, docs. This is one doc. This is docs. What is docs? Docs is an array, right? Docs is an array. See this. What is the difference? It says docs is an array, right? And over here, this document is one object, right? This is the document to insert. This is the documents to insert, right? This is an array. This is an important thing. So ideally, over here, if you have to insert this document, how you should do this? You should do either an array or you can just do insert one. But if you will do insert one, it will just take your data. It will not take an array, right? Let me just run this code and see, right? Let me just run this code and see. This time, let me push some other data, right? Let me push maybe Ranveer Singh, right? Why not? When we have Deepika Padukone, why not we have Ranveer Singh also with us? Okay, Ranveer Singh, right? Let us just insert that document also. And let's go run this code. Okay, did it insert or not? Okay, I'm not logging it. So let me go to the database and refresh it. See, it inserted Ranveer Singh also. And because we did insert one over here. Similarly, you can play with all of these things, right? You can just play with the code, play as much as you can. This is what I wanted to show you, and make sure that you are reading the documentation. Explore the documentation of this MongoDB package. I will push this code onto GitHub. You can take a reference of it also, but I'm not doing anything fancy over here. You don't even need this code to be there, right? You can just go to the documentation, right, and read it. That is the perfect source of truth. This is what I wanted to show you in this video. Let me also tell you one more thing before we end this video. In production, when we will make, right now we are using this MongoDB package, but in production, when we will be building our project, we will not be using this MongoDB package. Now I would say, Akshay, you have told us so many things. You have shown us so many, you have shown us so many examples. You have so many documentation. You have shown us so many things about this library. But let me tell you that we are not going to use this library. Remember, let me take a reference from previous videos. Remember, in creating the server video, when we were creating a server, we can create a server with a native HTTP module also. Right? We created a server, but on production, we do not use that HTTP module. We use a module which is known as Express.js, right? Express.js is a framework. We use that to create a server. Similarly, on production, we don't use this library MongoDB. We will use something known as Mongoose, and it is very, very amazing library. right? It's again available on npm. This is the library Mongoose, and it's very popular. Do you see this? 2.8 million weekly downloads. This is just weekly downloads. See, so much weekly downloads it has. And it's just growing. Do you see this? Mongoose is a very important library. We will not be using this MongoDB default library. MongoDB is default library. You can use this MongoDB default library also, but Mongoose makes your life easier. I could have skipped MongoDB library also, right? I could have skipped this. But I wanted you to be very good. I wanted you to know about this library. I showed you how to install it. I showed you how to read the documentation. Go ahead, and now don't become lazy and say that, okay, when we are not going to use it in our project, why should I go explore MongoDB? I should explore Mongoose. No. This is my humble request. I'm folding my hands. I'm joining my hands and saying you, please, install this library MongoDB, explore this library, read the documentation, try to do whatever I did in this video by yourself. Try to do even more things. Play with the code, play with the functions, play with the methods and library, right? Because this is a very important native library. This is not a native library of Node.js, native library of MongoDB, right? MongoDB created this library. It's a good way to connect to Node.js, but I'm just telling you that we will be using in our project Express.js and Mongoose, and we will cover more about Express.js, more about Mongoose, how to create a server using Express.js, how do you create a database connection using Mongoose, how to insert documents and everything using Mongoose. We will use Mongoose. Right? It's very much flexible and easy. That is why we use it. And almost all the companies that they use Mongoose only. Mongoose is a very famous library. Okay, but that does not mean that MongoDB is not good. MongoDB is very good. Use it, right? And please do that. Do your homework. This is what I would urge you. I can just take this episode to 2, 3, 4 hours, 5 hours also, right? Database is a very big concept, but I just want to keep it here only. Go explore, right? Be curious. I want all my, I want all my students to be curious, right? Explore more about it. Write as much code as you can. Before building the project, explore this library. Later on, go and build the project. Take some time, right? Go do whatever I did. Create a database, create a cluster, MongoDB cluster, get a connection URL, connect it. Explore the Compass also. This is a tool that we will use a lot, right? In future also. I like this tool. There are multiple tools. There are alternatives for Compass also, but it is given by MongoDB. It is managed by MongoDB and it works well. There are multiple other tools also which you can use, but I use this and we will continue to use this. So please go ahead, explore this tool also. Explore the data, create documents, and write the code. That's all in this video, my dear friends. But wait. Before you go, I would request you one more thing. Please keep watching the videos, keep taking down notes, and please keep practicing, because without practice, watching these videos will make no sense, right? You will not learn Node.js like this. You will not learn to build projects like this. You will have to do hands-on practice. Okay, and then finally, I would request you to please share about Namaste Node.js on social media, write a post about it, take some notes, right? Whatever notes you have taken, post it on social media, or you can just, whatever you have learned, something new out of this video, post it about that on your social media, right? And tag me up. Share about Namaste Node to your friends, to your family, to all the people on social media. This is my request. Please help us reach as much more students I can, right? I want my course, this Namaste Node, to reach as many students as I can, right? So that we can create a community of good, great Node.js developers. It will mean a lot to us. It takes a lot of time to create all these videos and all, right? And I'm always committed to giving you the best knowledge as I can. right, with my understanding, and I'm trying to teach you in the best possible way. Thank you so much for watching all these videos. Thank you so much for people who have already shared on social media, and I would request others to also share on social media and tag me up. Don't forget to tag me up whenever I read any of your posts, whenever I read any of your comments, right? And the post on social media where you have tagged me up, I enjoy a lot. I feel that, okay, my students are learning. Whenever I open social media, I see that, okay, there are students learning, because these are the recorded sessions. And there is a purpose for recorded sessions, right? It's not live, so I'm not able to connect with you one-on-one, but I would wish to connect with you on social media. Please tag me up on your post, and I would love to read them. I would love to enjoy them. That's all I wanted to say at the end of it. And keep building, keep working hard, keep writing code, and keep learning Node.js with us, and hope I will make you fall in love with Node.js very soon. Some of you would have already been fallen on love with Node.js already, right? If you haven't, you will fall. Don't worry. We will build projects, and there is so much more to come in this series. Don't you worry about anything, my dear friends. Till then, bye-bye. That's all in this video. See you very soon, and thank you for watching. Bye-bye.